All right, let's continue this series, how to program strength training for wrestlers. There's two other parts you can find on the YouTube channel. Um and I'm just going to take a deeper dive into this outline that I've given you. This is not anything original. This is proven. Any strength and conditioning specialist worth their salt that knows their literature, that's been in the trenches, that's done the training themselves, that's applied the training to hundreds of athletes and seen the human body respond, would use something very close to this, if not the same exact thing. Okay. Where strength and conditioning programs, elite productive ones, tend to differ is preferences on interchangeable moves. Okay. And on that note, for example, the squat is the fundamental leg movement that I've beat to death. It's a triple flexion, triple extension, full range of motion. If you master the squat, then every other leg movement is a derivative of the squat. Running is just a bunch of little tiny quick squats. Okay, triple flexion, triple extension at a shallow range of motion. All right. If there was one move that would make you good at all leg movements, that would improve all other leg movements, it starts with the squat, the deep, full depth squat. All right. If you want to be good at step ups, is there another movement that will drastically improve your step ups? Yes. Build your back squat to twice your body weight. And guess what? Body weight step ups are going to be easy. Most step ups are typically done at a shallow range of motion at 90 degrees at the knees and hips that I see most practitioners do. That's simple movement compared to a full depth squat. Okay. So this is a tried and true template, and I'm going to show you how to implement it today, and tell you other reasons of why you should implement. Remember, all of these movements are motor recruitment patterns. All these movements in and of themselves are skills. If you master these skills, you will be able to productively use the force that your contractile tissues create. Okay, the muscle cell. All right. If you don't have any good movement skills, fundamental movement skills, you don't squat well, you don't push well, you don't pull well, you don't hip hinge well, because you've never trained these movements to a level of mastery, you will not be able to use the contractile forces of your muscles in a productive manner. All right. We see this easily when speed is added to the equation. Okay, power and speed down here. See this, okay? Like with a race car, or when you're learning a new skill, you commonly hear slow it down. Get it down first, then add speed. Because as you speed, things tend to crash and burn. All right. So that's another benefit of mastering these fundamental motor recruitment patterns up here, because then when you go to add speed to your wrestling moves, you will have the skills already in place to keep from falling on your face. Okay, to keep from missing or telegraphing. Okay, to keep from being inaccurate, missing that ankle pick. All right. So let's take a look at how I would program this. When I'm programming, I'm looking to hit all of these throughout the week. At least once a week, we're going to hit back squat, front squat, overhead squat, all three. Once a week, we're going to hit some type of deadlift, clean, snatch, toe to bar, or sit up. All 5 of these, we're going to do one form, one variation, somehow, some way. And I'm going to do them at different loads is important. Okay, light, medium, and heavy. All of these movements. Super important to remember this. Okay, the light and medium and heavy. The heavy is typically done easily in just a separate strength session by itself. I'm going to set aside 15-20 minutes and we're just going to do some heavy deadlifts. 15-20 minutes, we're going to do some heavy cleans. I can get a session on one of these movements, which is important. Okay? Remember, time like in the gym, time on something is not in stone. It just depends on the stimulus you want. You hear people bragging about being in the gym for 3 hours. It's like, okay, you still haven't told me any important information yet. That's like the last thing I want to know. Okay. So these strength sessions, we could do a heavy bench session right after wrestling practice. And then we're going to do a conditioner after that, which may have some more pushing in it. Might be a push themed strength and conditioning day that like I've mentioned before in the previous videos. Okay. And then so throughout the week, and it's a tall order. It's a tough puzzle to solve sometimes. I'm going to get a bench press in, a shoulder press. I'm going to get some type of power speed movement, a jerk, a plyo. All right. There's 2 categories of strength you got to worry about. Okay. Slow and fast. Fast strength, slow strength. Okay, power lifters. Think about how long it takes to get a heavy deadlift, a max deadlift, all the way up. That's slow. Cleans and snatches, they have to be fast or you miss. All right, if you do it slow, you won't finish the lift. If you do a box jump slowly, think about it, you won't even get off the ground. You just did a little squat. That's all you did. Okay, so you got your slow lifts and your fast lifts. You need to balance those throughout the week. Make sure you get those in. All right, and then you got your pulls down here. I think I've covered these before. You got to go horizontal, vertical with your pushing and pulling. All right, so if yesterday you did bench and burpees, bench is your strength, burpees was in your conditioner, and you still feel pretty good. Maybe you didn't torch the shoulders and the triceps. I'm like, they're all right. Okay, well, if you have to, if we don't have any more time left in the week, we could go vertical with the pressing today. Maybe we could hit some push presses or some jerks overhead as in your conditioner. All right. Maybe we want to do some thrusters. Maybe yesterday we didn't do any legs. We want to get some legs into our conditioner, so we could do thrusters. We could just do front squats in the conditioner. But I really want this to be a gasser. And I want to combo it maybe with pull-ups. So we'll do thrusters and pull-ups. You know, just an example of how you would mold this around and get a balance of all these movements throughout the week. I'm not trying to hit all these movements every day. Okay, if I touch on these movements once a week on some of them, because they transfer. Like I don't have to do barbell rows every day or dumbbell rows every day. Especially if I had another day where I did pull-ups. Maybe Tuesday I did pull-ups, Friday I did dumbbell rows. 2 days of pulling is great. Combined with the wrestling you're doing. All right. So that's another topic. How often should I program something? If it's super heavy strength, once a week does the job. If I go super heavy on bench, it's just a strength session on bench. Say I did 5 sets of 3, heavy as possible. All right. My max at one time is 400 pounds, and I'm doing sets of 3 at 350. I get 5 of those in, I'm going to be torched. Okay, I'm not going to do it again on Wednesday. All right. Plus, I have other stuff to do that's going to require pushing, overhead stuff, burpees, conditioning stuff. All right. So I don't need to do bench again. And if I do strength once a week on bench, it has been my experience that that's enough to get the bench up. I've rarely ever done bench twice in 1 week. And I still have an elite world-class number, world-class strength when it comes to bench. At 400, you're deep in the 1 percentile in the world. You're nothing compared to a competitive bench presser, but compared to a wrestler, that you won't find a wrestler that can do a 400-pound bench, statistically speaking. You go into any random wrestling room, any random high school or college, it's going to be hard to find. Okay, and I did that with 1 session of bench a week. And one reason that works, though, is because I'm still doing all kinds of other pushing throughout the week. Okay. Soreness is a good gauge on whether or not you're ready to do something again. I've had GHD sit-ups is one of my favorite surprises to toss at somebody. Like, oh, I'm good at sit-ups. I got a 6-pack abs. They're the king, right? And they've never done GHD sit-ups before. So toss those at them. We'll do like 3 sets of 20, 3, 4, 5 sets of 20 in a conditioner. Say you're doing like GHD sit-ups, 400-meter run and 10 deadlifts, whatever. Repeat that for 15 minutes. Okay, see how many rounds you can get in. And those will make you sore. Okay. So a good rule of thumb is when the soreness is gone, you can train it again. There are situations where you do have to train sore. Okay, especially when it comes to your skill training. Okay, remember these are skills. All right, so sometimes it's important just to do it again just for the skill work, but also you're a wrestler, football player, basketball player, you're going to have to practice the sport every day. All right, you're going to have to wrestle sore. All right. Do not, and this is a tough one to juggle because sometimes you've been squeezing so hard and wrestling so much live that you just blew out your biceps. They're fried. They're done. And if you waited till tomorrow, you realize they're sore just from wrestling. Okay. In that situation, program pushes for the day. Okay. Make an audible. I can't do some pulling today. Biceps are blown out. There's nothing wrong with programming pull-ups or pushes, bench press, shoulder press for that day, and then coming back the next day and then hitting your pulls. Okay. A question that might pop up immediately is like, well, if you're blowing out your biceps from pulls like that, do you ever need to train pulls then? Yes, you do. you will never hit the max strength. You will never be as strong as you can be without strength training. You get in phenomenal shape. You get some great fitness. And if you started out really weak, you'll get stronger from wrestling. But it will not be a continual progression forever, where weight training can be. Okay, I can take you from a 100-pound bench press to a 400-pound bench press. I can continuously do that throughout your life. Okay, wrestling is hit or miss. It's a feel. You don't know. You're like, yeah, obviously I'm stronger than when I started. I can handle guys I couldn't handle before. All right, but how much stronger are you? This is important to know. We got to figure this out. That's just another check, another box to check on why you still need strength training, and you need maximal strength training. And you need a great way to measure it, and you need the best movements to train it. Okay. So this right here, I want to show you guys this. This is like a whole nother chapter of physical conditioning, strength and conditioning. And everything is intertwined. As you can see here, your endurance, stamina is jumbled in here with strength and flexibility. Nothing is isolated in a bubble. All right. Ultimately, athletes are after power and speed, especially combat athletes, wrestlers, football players, mixed martial artists. Power, speed is the name of the game. The productive use of force. How quickly can you do a lot of work? How fast can you move large loads over long distances? Is another way to put it. Okay, in order to do this and not crash and burn, you need these things: coordination, agility, balance, accuracy. All 10 of these can be trained with these moves. All right, and I'll show you. I have all kinds of other variations on these moves. Like here is a video of me doing the sledgehammer, which I wanted to show you guys. It was because Cal Dake in the previous videos I showed puts a heavy emphasis on rotational moves, which is great for a wrestler. All right, wrestlers need to be able to change directions, change the orientation that they're facing, and not lose balance. Okay, have strong core stability. If I get tugged backwards, my core is strong and balanced. I don't actually fall over backwards. I get suddenly tugged forward, I don't fall on my face forward. A tremendous balance, stability throughout the entire body, especially in the core. Okay, movements like this enhance that because it's 360, multi-directional. It's tugging you in all directions, challenging you to stay centered. You got to stay centered in this spot. Don't fall over that way. Don't fall over this way. It's another skill you can just master indefinitely, get better at it throughout your entire life. And this is one of my faves. I've been doing this for a long time, since I'm 42. I did MMA when I was in my 20s. Okay, so here is me, and check these videos out. Here's me doing clean and jerks, showing you how to program clean and jerks for the day. I'm talking through it and all my decisions. Okay, going a little on the heavy side, doing singles. This is not a conditioner. And this session takes total 39 minutes, warm up and talking and everything. Could do it faster without the camera, without the talking. But watch the I can't get it to line up right. Okay. Look at the setup. The skills in order to wrestle this bar. I won't try to beat this too long. This is more about programming. But watch how the bar stays over the foot the whole time to help yourself generate maximal torque at each joint. If this bar rolls in front, the positioning is off. Okay, this is about the productive use of force. Okay, accuracy, agility, balance, coordination to demonstrate power and speed. All these have to be in place. On this note, real quick, the ones on the left are more organic, as it says here. They're more things take place in your soft tissues. The muscle cell, like you can utilize creatine and glycogen more efficiently and produce more ATP within the cell. You can increase your mitochondrial density within the cell. All right. Strength wise, the muscle cell can grow. Flexibility, are your tissues stiff? If they're stiff, they don't allow you to get in the right position. Over here, coordination, agility, balance, accuracy is more buried inside the nervous system, building neuronal maps. Okay. Building the map in your brain and in your nervous system to do a back squat is just like building a neuronal map, neurons, to tie a shoe. At first you were clumsy tying the shoe. Now you can do it in a split second. And it looks great and it's very symmetrical. Okay. Same with the back squat or clean or any movements. All right. All these 10 physical skills, they're the most important, and they can all be developed thoroughly into an elite level with these movements. Okay, here, just clean session. Watch the change of direction, down, up. That's agility. Core stability, strength, not allowing that barbell to dump. Okay, and bouncing right out of the hole. Okay, if you can pick up weight like this out of a front squat and do it quickly, once again, it's going to transfer to your wrestle. Speed, accuracy, agility. This front foot has to be in a specific place. We're looking for a vertical shin, toe turned in slightly, feet are about shoulder width apart. This toes turned in slightly, this knee's slightly bent. Okay, the core here should be vertical, not leaning forward. The head should be forward, elbows locked, bar right over the shoulder joint. All these things have to be precise and accurate. And if you learn how to do that, what I've noticed in wrestling is when my opponent is in an undesirable position for me to manipulate his weight, I know it. And I don't try to move him because it would just be a waste of energy. So what I do is I scramble, I readjust, I get in a better position. Now I try to move him and it's easy. Okay, it's child's play. Now I can fling him. Now I can knock him over easily because I've repositioned myself similar to the way you reposition yourself when you're wrestling a barbell. And what is really cool is a lot of the times it wasn't a wrestling technique. I wasn't doing something I was taught from wrestling. I was just intuitively creating a better position that felt better. It's like, oh no, he feels way too heavy right now. So I move my feet forward and then I pull again. It's like, that's better. Now he feels light. Okay. So that's an extreme advantage of kids, okay, athletes that master these, that have a background in something like this. All right, you can even look into other sports, other practitioners like gymnastics. They have an inherent advantage when they start wrestling. Okay, they know when a position feels bad, it's buried into them. Okay, same with Olympic lifters and power lifters. Anybody that does this stuff. So strength is not just contractile force of the muscle tissue. It's skill dependent. It's very technique dependent. Okay, let me refocus here. Let's and on that note, I want to use my own boys as an example of how important this is. When they started wrestling, for example, they were 8 years old, and I thought that was plenty early, which it is. It's fine. But other kids had already got a huge jump start. They started when they're 4 or 5. Okay, I started in 7th grade, and what I found out is these kids, these 8-year-old kids, already had better. For example, which was easy, is they had better skills, better technique than I had in 8th grade, my second year of wrestling. They look better than most high schoolers. A lot of high schoolers don't get enough time to develop great skill. They only get to do it in high school. These 8-year-olds were impressive. So I told the boys, the first year you're gonna lose a lot. Okay, second year you're gonna win some more, but you're still gonna lose a lot. The third year, because I've seen the progression of the human body and how it develops skills so many times, hundreds of times, with all ages, children, adults, in all sports, basically. Too many sports. Strongman, powerlifting, Olympic lifting, CrossFit, football, baseball, basketball, all sports I've done. And I can predict to almost to the day of their progression if they do the plan that I would have laid out for them. So I told them third year is going to be pretty cool because you're going to beat everybody except the elite wrestlers, the ones who've been doing it since they're 4 or 5, and they basically do it all year round. Go to off-season tournaments. Okay, you're going to struggle with them, and some of them you're just not going to be ready yet. Okay, by the 4th year, which some people might think is crazy, or some people might be like, yeah, that's exactly how it could go. Because I had them doing the wrestling and developing their skills here, their base fundamental athletic skills. You could call this general physical preparation, GPP. Everybody needs GPP, all athletes. And I knew, because it's just not that common, I knew either the other wrestlers were not doing this or they weren't doing it very well, because it's very skill based. It's a specialty knowledge to know how to do all these things. It's a high barrier to entry to actually coach these things well. It's hard to know these things inside and out because you're not just dealing with powerlifting, you're not just dealing with Olympic lifting, you're also dealing with gymnastics. And then you're dealing with the different energy pathways, anaerobic and aerobic. All right. You can program for cross country, but can you program for football players? It's not the same. All right. And do you have experience watching those progressions with your own eyes? And have you done it yourself? Okay. So having done it myself, having the experience watching with my own eyes over and over again, I knew how to give the boys an extreme advantage and how to close the gap on wrestlers that had 3 or 4 more years wrestling experience. Where we're going to close the gap is in here. All right. These wrestlers will still have more wrestling experience and technically on paper have more wrestling skill, but they're bad movers. They're generally bad movers if they don't do this. And you can watch, I should make a video of it, how my boys defeat more skilled, experienced wrestlers with athletic movement developed by this. More strength, more productive use of force. They're not wasting force. Okay. They may not know every wrestling movement under the sun. They're not walking encyclopedias by their 4th year, but they're solid movers. Okay. And the 4th year, for example, one of them won a state championship. And the other one, he didn't get the state championship, but he had defeated the state champion before. Okay, so they got to the top of the mountain by their 4th year, which is acceptable. I like that kind of progress. I think you would too. So if you do this, if you do the things, if you implement the things that I'm telling you, your athletes will see the same results. All right, so let's go into how a program looks. This is my website, championspath.ghost.io. Lots of great articles, information here. If you go down to the bottom, I have some examples posted of how I would structure a wrestling practice, a training session for the day for wrestlers, which includes wrestling warm-ups. Some of these will look familiar, some of them might not. I also have videos on YouTube showing the warm-ups. The things we focused on that day, drilling. All right, one of my rules is 10. Got to get reps in. Perform 10 reps of each minimum of everything you're working on that day. All right, that's another weakness I see in a lot of wrestling rooms is they'll get like 3 reps in. All right, go hit some double legs whatever reason, typically see wrestlers barely get 3 to 5 reps. If you want to learn a skill, want to master something, you need 10,000 reps on it. Got to rep it out. All right. So drilling, takedown of the day, high crotch, breakdown of the day, tight waist. We'll get in the details of that and then drill it. Okay. And then we'll pick one of these. And we won't do all 3. Just pick one format. 1-minute periods, 2-minute periods, or 3-minute periods. And you can create your own. You can have fun with it. But these are what I do most of the time. And I always pick a negative rest ratio. This would be a 2-to-1 work rest ratio. 1 minute on, 30 seconds off. This is a 2-to-1. 2 minutes on, 1 minute off. All right. It's a 3-to-1. 3 minutes on, 1 minute off. And then a minute overtime at the end. Just to make it a nice round 10-minute session of work. So far, they're going on 12 years old. I haven't added to this. This is how we started when they're 8. We do 10 rounds, 10 hard minutes. They go hard live, simulating a tournament. Okay, to build that wrestling endurance. That's another thing that I say is still true. I will do strength and conditioners, but we don't rely on only that for their conditioning and their strength. Okay, we still rely on live wrestling and drilling to get them in wrestling shape. That's still part of the equation. All right. This just think of it as a what do you call it? An accessory to the wrestling practice. It doesn't take a front seat. It doesn't take a primary role like it would in a power lifter, Olympic lifter, or strongman who that's the only thing they focus on. This is more like an accessory to the wrestling practice. So therefore, we will cut back on the volume. We won't do as much volume on strength work as a power lifter would. There's no need for that. You already did some here. We don't know how much. Can't measure it. But we will do what I have found to be that will undeniably move the needle on strength. If you do on a regular basis 3 heavy sets of deadlift, maximal. All right. Just generally in a maximal way. You don't, not even being too picky about the percentages you're doing. You do a heavy set of 5, a heavy set of 3, and a heavy single. Of course, you did some warm-up build-up sets. I would say 3 or 4, 5 build-up sets before you did that heavy set of 5. And you go heavy 5, heavy 3, heavy 1. I would argue you could get stronger indefinitely. You just do that once a week plus all the other stuff you're doing as a wrestler. Your deadlift will continuously move forward. You will get stronger. And I'll mix it up. And I usually stay between that 1 to 5 rep range for strength, maximal strength. We're going to do 5 sets of 1. Maybe we'll just do heavy singles that day, get a little crazy. Or 5 sets of 3. Or 5 sets of 5. Usually don't do more than 5. These are ballpark figures. If I'm training an athlete week after week after week and I have eyes on that athlete, I will make adjustments to the numbers according to what performance I see. Okay, that's why it's hard to program like a canned workout and tell everybody you should do this, because nobody's the same. Nobody's at the same point in their career and their strength level and their skill level. You have to adapt to these things when you program. So they're gonna hit a 5-3-1 that day. Maybe the last week they hit a 3-3-3. So we're gonna mix it up a little bit. Variance is good. Okay. If you do the same routine for your entire life, your body will adapt to it. You will plateau. You won't continue to get gains. And it's as simple as continuously adjusting the reps and the weights. That's all. You do deadlift the rest of your life and continue to get better at deadlift, but you got to continually adjust the reps and the weights. All right. I've been doing 225 for my heavy single for 6 weeks. How about this week you try 230? That's variance. It's that simple. Okay. Progression. Constantly progressing. Moving on. Trying harder things. Constantly. And I would do it weekly until I fell on my face. That's my mentality. Say my heavy set of 1. When I first try is 225. Next week I'm trying 230. Oh, nice. I got it. Okay. Next week I'm going to go ahead and do 235. If I get that, then I'm going to 240. And if I don't get 240, maybe I'll try 240 again the next week. I'll keep working on that. And maybe it takes me 4 weeks to get 240. And then the next week, I'm going for 245. All right. Logical progression like that will serve you your whole life. I've never really gotten much more complicated than that in my programming of progressions. You can do all kinds of fancy percentage waves that you find in programming books. And those may or may not work for you. But I guarantee you this linear progression is a failsafe. All right. Conditioners. After you do a strength, I'm not trying to tank myself. I'll leave some. This is not a burnout. You're not trying to do sets of failure. You're not a bodybuilder here. You're just trying to get the body stronger. It actually doesn't take as much volume to get the body stronger as it would other goals, maybe like hypertrophy and endurance may take more volume. Strength actually takes less, relatively. That's a oversimplification. It depends, especially for a wrestler. It just doesn't take that much. Conditioner wise, all right. This is where the variables just skyrocket here. You got a lot of bases you need to cover with your conditioner. This is where we need to cover all the other skills. All right, we need to cover all of these. And there's a few rules I use to cover these. And I'll write it down. I've already kind of covered it. You need to hit the anaerobic pathway with these skills. Anaerobic on a regular basis. I can't type. This mic's in the way. Pathways. Okay, what is that? Fast and heavy. Your conditioners need to be fast and heavy. I think classically it's people get stuck in that corner of going long and slow, running miles. Get your road work in, especially with boxers, which kind of has transferred to the wrestling world. Run your miles. It's like maybe once a week, get out and run miles, but you got other things you need to do. So you can't. I wouldn't recommend running the miles more than twice a week. Got pathways. Okay, and here's something to consider. Wrestlers are always bouncing back and forth between these pathways, anaerobic and aerobic. Aerobic is long and slow. Long, slow, and light. Fast and heavy. Your 100-meter sprints, 40-yard dashes, your maximal lifts or heavy lifts, anything over 60% of your max. Aerobic pathways, your road work, long distance rowing, running, biking, swimming. Okay, and anything else that's lightweight and you can do a billion of, like burpees. You can't, you should be able to do 140 of those, 150 of those in a row. Just go forever. 7-8 minutes in a row, just burpee, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. That should be, and that's an aerobic pathway you're training there. Okay. We need to throughout the week, say you got 5 training sessions through the week. One conditioner will be focusing on short, hard sprints. Okay, so it's short. I'm going to do 2-minute goes or 1-minute goes, as many reps as possible, as fast as hard as I can go. Okay, and then one of your workouts needs to be focused on sustained movement for a longer period of time, a medium period of time. So we're talking like 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, that's medium. 10 to 15. And then you got long distance. All right, now you're really working on the aerobic pathway. You could count your miles. If you want to run miles, you can do that for twice a week. Okay. This is 20 or more, 20 plus minutes. And you can simply, as I do this a lot, I'm simply just cycling through those three. What did we do yesterday? Oh, we did a short sprint, hard intensity intervals, just blowing it out. We went as fast as we could on the rower, as many burpee box jumps as you could do in a minute, and as many thrusters as you could do in a minute. And the thrusters were like 135 pounds, so it's kind of heavy. All right, so we're going to switch gears now. We had it kind of heavy, and we went super fast and hard. Today, we're going to go light. We're going to do a 20-minute grinder of just pull-ups, push-ups, and air squats. That's it. 20-minute grinder on that. Just work on stamina. All right, what's cool about that is it's 3 movements. It's a triplet. So by the time you get done with your push-ups and air squats, your pull-ups are ready. You're going to do 5, 10, 15. All right, 5 pull-ups, do your 10 push-ups, do your 15 air squats. You got a break there. So now you're ready to just jump right back on the barbell and do it again. And if you can't keep a continuous flow on one like that, that's actually a famous one. That's called the Cindy. We've done that a million times. We can get 20 or more rounds on that in 20 minutes. If you can't, that's a goal for a wrestler. You need to have that kind of stamina. All right, just pump out 1 round of Cindy every minute or faster. Okay, I think the most I've ever done was 26 or 27 rounds in 20 minutes. So I was going faster. All right, so short, medium, long. Yesterday we did long, so today we're going to go medium duration. The importance is like medium blends both. It blends anaerobic and aerobic. And then the other two are the extremes. Okay. Shorter than that is aerobic sprinting, going hard, going heavy. And then you got to switch up the loads. I hope that made sense. So if you look at this one, this is a medium length. All right. It's a triplet. All right. And it's kind of heavy. 225 for that many reps is pretty heavy. It'll beat you down. It'll get heavy. It'll feel like a ton towards the end of this 15 minutes. And you do the 9, the 12, the 15. As soon as you get done with that bike and you're trying to go hard and fast for as long as you can, you will slow down because it's so long. But you're trying to get as many reps as you can in that 15-minute time frame. All right, just like you're trying to get as many takedowns, you're trying to move as much as you can in a wrestling match, move more than the other guy. Whoever moves more usually wins. Fatigued wrestlers lose. Okay. So the good thing to do with these is do it with a partner. All right, my boys are twins. They always have partners so they can race each other, see who can get more reps within those 15 minutes. And what's interesting about this is like, well, if you go that hard and get that tired, your technique's going to go to crap. Yeah, and so does your score. Okay, your score plummets. All right, and your score tells you everything we need to know. All right, it tells us that these are not all good. We need all of these to be good. Power, speed, coordination, agility, balance, accuracy, endurance, stamina. If you have killer endurance and stamina, you'll be able to maintain these longer. Okay, and you will get to the point where you can hit a 15-minute nasty AMRAP like this and your technique never falters. And you never slow down to the naked eye. You set a pace. Like, okay, 9 deadlifts, taking about 30 seconds. 12 burpees, maybe 30 seconds. 15 cows, no more than a minute. So I want to get this first round done under 2 minutes. And we got 15 minutes to go. It's about 7 rounds. Okay, I'm going to hold a 7-round pace on this. I'm just going to do everything I can not to slow down. And you doing these on a regular basis will give you that level of stamina and endurance. If you don't do things like this, say you only do deadlifts for strength and then you do the typical road work, you run miles, you will suck at these. You'll be no good at this. You will die on these. You'll think you should be good because your runs take 30, 45 minutes and this is only 15, right? And I do deadlifts. You know, I'm pretty good at it. I can do 500-pound deadlifts. So this is in my bag. It's like, no, you'll crash and burn. It'll be as if you don't train. You'll vomit on this. Trust me on that. Test it. Okay. And one of the reasons is switching gears is painful for the body. Going anaerobic, aerobic, anaerobic, aerobic, anaerobic, aerobic is painful. In boot camp, the soldiers would get so mad because it's one of the things that drill sergeants would do to us just to piss us off. We'd go for runs and they would switch gears on us. We'd be in our formation, right? And we're just cruising along on a certain tempo, certain rhythm, and we feel good. And all of a sudden, drill sergeant would take off sprinting. And they had us trained like we have to match him. Whatever he does, we got to do. So we match and we sprint with him. And then he slows down. All right. Okay. You just got to get back into rhythm here. Feel good. And then he takes off sprinting and, oh no. Okay. Going back and forth is worse than if we went to the track and we just did sprints only. Switching energy systems is something that requires adaptation. You have to train your body to be able to do that without crashing and burning and causing a lot of misery. So your body will adapt to AMRAPs like this, triplets, different movements, different skills under fatigue. Okay, you get used to doing deadlifts under fatigue. It's a weird adaptation. You just got to try it if you've never tried. It's like you get good at it. Maintaining form, being efficient while gassed out of your mind. Guess where else you need to do that? On the wrestling mat. Okay. Third period, gassed out of your mind. We still need to see a beautiful double leg. I'll still be yelling at you to shoot. Tug his head and go. Get after him. Take a shot. Take a shot. And you're just screaming inside your head, I can't. I'm so gassed. Can't do it. I'm about to fall on my face right now. These conditioners will teach you how to do it. You get down to that last round, you only got 1 minute left on that AMRAP. You just finished the bike and you're purple in the face. Okay, but you do these all the time. So you just, like a zombie, go over and grab that bar and move. And you just move. And you produce enough force to move 225 pounds. No more, no less. You get super efficient at it. Okay, so that's the 3-part essentially. You'd break other parts down. We got warm-ups, we got drills, then we got live, then we got strength, then we got a conditioner. That's a typical breakdown of our training session, and it's produced elite wrestlers. My boys are doing pretty good. It's good enough for me. And as far as the strength and conditioning, that's my specialty, really. I mean, I grew up wrestling and did was on a professional mixed martial arts team for 2 years. So my wrestling is pretty solid. I coached at Lincoln College, Somers High School, Somers Middle School, and now Baxter High School. And this is it. This is where it is to this day. This is the program. Okay, if you have any questions on this, it's such a huge subject. There's so many tangents, so many um rabbit holes we can go down. If I didn't explain something good enough, please post your questions down below. And I would be happy to do a Q&A too. And I'll just get on here and just answer questions. Don't be shy. Go ahead and reach out to me. Check out this website. Lots of good information here. It's all free. Okay. Check out my YouTube videos for more ideas. And I'll talk to you soon.